Welcome to the G.N.A podcast, Games, Nerds, and Alcohol, where we get drunk and talk about stuff. And you know what? I keep saying that I'm going to lay off the alcohol a little bit, but I can't. I've got this special batch bourbon that I can't seem to keep my hands off of. It's, God. It's like when your wife starts working out and she gets those really firm buns and you can't help but just grab a hold. It's that. It's like that. It's exactly like that. Anyway. Yeah, I know. I'm randomly rattling on here, but this time I'm not alone like I was last week. It's okay. I screwed up last week. I totally screwed everybody's time schedule up. I think I record on like a Wednesday, so my fault. Anyway, we're being joined tonight by D from Microbrew Gamerz. How are you doing tonight, D?
Doing all right.
Rock
you know,
on,
it'd be a great marketing thing. Selling those bottles of alcohol with an attached Tums on the side.
Dude, really? Like for those people who've got acid reflux? Like seriously, like just sell them a bottle of booze with a bottle of Tums. They'll just sit there and like chew, gargle, chew.
That or an Nexium, one of the two.
Yeah, man. That or you just got to do enough coke that it doesn't affect you whatsoever. Just like your system is going at Mach 2. And we're being joined tonight by Shinzu. Shinzu, man, how are you feeling on this fine evening?
I'm feeling most excellent. I've been gone for, 2 weeks now again? Because we missed one, and I missed last week.
I think so. About 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks, yep. But I'm back. Having a good time, just vibing, chilling, drinking.
Back in black. Wait, I don't. Where the hell? I was going into. I just mixed Back in Black with It Is Hot, Hot, Hot. Because I was just about to go banana. Like, ooh, maybe I should start getting high or something. Like, I need something.
I think maybe you should stop licking the paint.
No, don't you? No. Do not have to do that. Just like eating bacon. My doctor said I don't have to stop eating bacon. Okay, so first segment. What is everybody drinking? I'm going first because, well, I don't know what you guys are drinking, but I'm still really excited about what I'm drinking. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to Kentucky, and while I was there, I went on this bourbon mixing tour where literally I went to a place. They educated me on how they used to give bourbons to people, like how they used to blend bourbons, was you would get whatever barrels of bourbon you could get, and then you would go up to your bourbon mixer and you would say, I want something like this. And then they would mix it right there for you and give it to you. And then they'd remember what the mix was. But when you go back like a week or two later or whatever it may be, you might have completely different barrels there. So you might not get the same recipe that you did before. So I learned how to mix bourbons, and I actually made my own recipe, which I've got written down. I didn't do the stupid thing of make it and then just, it's gone forever. But I have a very specific private batch. If you look at it, it says G.N.A Special Elixir. And it says up top, private batch. And what you can't see is that at the very, very bottom, right? At the very bottom, can you see what it says? It says very small batch. Because there's literally only 2 bottles of this that were made. So last week, I tried it just sipping it, which I've got here, which is really nice. It's a really nice sipping bourbon. Most of my bourbons that I've ever had, I don't know about you. Do you guys drink bourbons?
Oh my god, yes.
Okay. What's your favorite bourbon?
As of right now, my go-to is a maple bourbon from Saxon Distillery.
Nice. So a lot of maple wood in that. They probably mix in a little bit of American oak.
And maple syrup.
That's where you get the maple. Well, no, actually, I don't know if do they actually mix in maple syrup? Because a lot of time they'll use maple wood and they'll just go heavy on maple wood because that'll give it a maple flavor.
No, it's actual maple syrup inside as well.
Interesting. I gotta find out that recipe.
It's super smooth, and it's not. You'd expect it to be like super sweet, but it's really not. It's just really smooth, and it has that nice maple kick at the very end. And it's just like I could drink an entire bottle of that stuff. It's so good.
So this stuff that I'm drinking, which is the G.N.A Special Elixir, has a bit of a smoky hit to it. It's maple, it's American, it's cherry, and it's smoked oak to give the flavor. And just as a sipper, like I like my whiskeys. Sorry, I like my scotches specifically to be a little bit more on the sweet side and a little less on the peaty side. But when it comes to bourbon, I like that smoky flavor that's in it. That kind of like that kind of shoe leathery, kind of shoe polish scent, I guess. So I've got some that I'm drinking. I've actually drank about half of it already because I like it just straight. But I'm also trying it because, as you know, bourbons can be mixed. Now, the best thing to make with bourbon is probably a Manhattan. I don't have any bitters here. My fault. So I just mix it with some Coke to see what it's going to taste like. Let's see what it is. Interesting. So the caramel notes in it cancel each other out, and you get almost entirely like a wood kind of like just wood flavor. Like, you know, when you're at a campfire, not like a really smoky campfire, but you get that taste of wood in the air. It's like that. That's weird. Anyway, so that's what I'm making. And anybody who comes down and visits me, I've got a second bottle that I'll be force feeding everybody else. And I'm hoping that nobody likes this so that I don't have to keep giving them more and I can save it all for me. Super selfish, but don't give a rat's ass. What about you, D? Are you drinking with us tonight?
I am. I'm not drinking anything really awesome and spectacular like that. I just had the rest of my Smirnoff vodka I needed to finish off, so I decided to mix it with cherry 7-Up to see how it would turn out.
Ooh, and?
It tastes pretty good, but with it makes almost the cherry stand out even more. But it's a little on the sweet side, so I think next time, you know, I might just go with like Sprite or something else. But the cherry 7-Up's a little on the sweet side for it.
Don't forget, you can go with vodka, peach schnapps, Sprite, or sorry, not Sprite, grape soda.
Mm-hmm.
Purple peach.
Nice. I should probably grab some of that.
Yeah, man. Dude, I want to try that with grape knee-high.
But I did go to a like a former monastery while in Germany, and we got the beer there, which was fantastic.
Dude, how was your? I don't think you've been on since your Germany trip.
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, after this, you got to tell me all about the Germany trip.
I'll have to.
Shinzu.
I'm keeping it pretty classy tonight. I'm drinking a nice port.
Oh,
yes. I'm going to fancy pinky out. I went on a little bit of a road trip recently and decided to stop at a liquor store. And a friend of mine said, hey, do they have any of this specific port brand whose name I currently forget? And they said, yes, they do. And they have like a ton of it and it's on sale. So they said, pick us up 8 bottles. And I'm like, 8 bottles?
Oh, wow.
They want 8 bottles of this port. They got to know something. So I bought myself a bottle, and it is damn good.
Ooh. See,
it's damn good.
You got to describe the entirety of it to me because ports for me are super sweet, and I got to be in the mood for them.
It is sweet. It is sweet, but it's very fruit notes, and then it kind of like fades into like an oakish vanilla flavor. But my friend and I have discovered a little bit of water in there cuts the sweetness down completely, and it turns out to be more like just a normal like really heavy wine. That's a lot higher APV.
Very interesting. So, like ports for me, I have to be eating something sweet with them, and I don't know why. I mean, it's a dessert wine, I understand, but I always thought it was a dessert wine because it was sweet, and you would drink it kind of for dessert.
See, that's the difference between you and me. You relegate your alcohol to specific situations. I am just open to everything.
I would say that I'm open to things. I have certain alcohols that only strike me in the right mood. Like, for instance, I can't drink scotch any day of the week. I wish I could. Like, I don't have a booze that I can just drink every day of the week. Like even bourbon. Bourbon I really have to be in the mood for. And the reason I'm drinking it now is because I went to Kentucky and it got me in the mood for bourbon. So like,
so you're the kind of guy where like bourbon will come in and be like, "Hey, let's do something. You're like, not tonight, sweetheart. I have a headache.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Bourbon will walk in and be like, hey, been a few weeks. You say, you, me in the back room? I'll go, not today. I got a headache. I can't do it. My back hurts. Just can't make it happen. All right. So, we were talking about something before the show. What the hell was it?
Aliens.
Well, that'll lead me right to the next segment really well. What is ever a state of games? State of games where we talk about what we've been playing for the past week or so, or two, or we pontificate on how we feel gaming is just in general. Let's reverse that right around, man. Shinzu, what is your state of games, man?
Not great, unfortunately. I have been streaming more of the Mortuary Resistance. And then I was like, you know what? They just dropped Arc 3.0 for Destiny. Let's log in and see how that is. Well, it's not great. I think. Yeah. I went to play it and I didn't have high hopes in the beginning, and I'm watching the Hunter class and the Titan class just be like ridiculously OP, and I'm sitting there as like a Titan or as a Warlock going like because we can't really do too much. And then like I played the first like storyline mission for it, and then immediately had to play the same exact thing again. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, that's kind of weird. And they're like, oh yeah, here's a new thing. Here's something else you got to do. You can now do whatever you want. The map is your oyster. And I look at the map and I'm like, there's only like 3 things to do to keep up with the current weapons and stuff. And I have to play the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, I literally just played one mission and now it's right back to the grind. And I dropped that game because it was such a grind. And I'm like, I couldn't do it. So I just put the game down again. I'm like, I can't go back to the grind. I left it for like 2 weeks and I came back and I just felt like someone had just nailed me to the desk and said, you must play this game. And I'm just like, I really don't want to.
Dude, I wish I could say like all games now have turned into that, because like it's just, they got to keep that player base, man. It's frustrating as hell.
The worst part is if they would have like stopped vaulting stuff all the time, they could have had some sort of like level progression. Instead, you jump in and you're immediately at the newest content. Like, you don't have to go through a bunch of stuff. You basically are just right there and you immediately go right into the grind rather than kind of going through a bunch of the stuff. And I think the King's Fall or whatever it is, the raid just got released, and I haven't even wanted to go back and do that one. I'm just like, no, I just
So I'm on the fence about it because I really enjoyed those old raids. However, I'd much prefer new raids versus rehashing old material. I mean, at this point in time, we're literally a stone's throw away of having all Destiny 1 content in Destiny 2.
We are, and I think that's one of the worst things about this game is like it's the best worst game. It'll keep you like engaged for a little while, and then afterwards it just becomes a slog. And then if you play the game long enough, you start realizing that a lot of the content they're giving you now is just either exact copies of what they previously had, or literally just re-releases. Like there hasn't been a really decent new raid that I've been like, oh, I love it. Like I love Vault of Glass. But like that was like the last like raid that I was really excited about. I'll still run Vault of Glass when people like ask me to. I'm like, oh, I love that one. Let's do it.
Yeah, I really liked Callus and the Leviathan raid. When they vaulted that, I was like, oh.
See, I get why they vaulted that one because the storyline and the ship and whatnot. I really like the Crota raid too. And they took that one away, and I'm like, why can't we just? Or was that one you? Maybe that was Oryx. Maybe that was that one. Hang on, Crota. No, I'm sorry. Crota was a dungeon. That's right. Crota was a dungeon.
Oh.
I like doing that dungeon. Yeah, I like doing that dungeon. And they took that one away. So I remember the last like week or last 2 weeks in August, they had like the same like 3 like Vanguard raids, and I'm like, they could literally just leave all of them open. You just cycle through them, and it'd be great because you wouldn't have to run the same thing over and over and over and over again, because they make you run 3 of them to get pinnacle gear anyway. So you wouldn't have to run like at any given time. You could actually run 2 of the same like in a row. It's ridiculous.
What about you, D? What is your state of games there, man?
A little bit better, actually. I picked up the Cowabunga collection on the Switch, which is a rehash. It's basically a re-release of all the old Ninja Turtles games, arcade, NES, Super NES. And I've been playing that with the family, just, kind of trying to power through that. That's been a lot of fun, because I love the old arcade Ninja Turtles games. But it's even got, the NES games, the Game Boy games. It's got, everything.
Are they remastered, or are they just straight exactly the way they were?
It's been so long since I've played some of them, I don't really remember. But they look to be pretty close to the same thing. Keeping the aspect ratio, because, it doesn't use the whole screen, so you got that screen in the middle type deal. So I think it's pretty much almost like a direct port. So I don't think they added anything new or anything else. But like I said, some of those games have been so long since I've played, I wouldn't be able to tell you. They really altered them a little bit. But it even has some of the the Ninja Turtles fighting games. Do you remember the tournament fighters and stuff?
Vaguely. Very vaguely.
Yeah, they're not the greatest, but at least they included them too, which is kind of cool. I mean, you get a little bit of everything.
Nice. And
of course, I've been playing an original Game Boy game that just came out called Gelatinous. There's a few small indie developers that are starting to re-release program and make games for old systems. And I got this one Game Boy one called Gelatinous, and it's pretty cool. It's you get turned into this little slime, and it's basically a physics platformer.
Oh shit! Huh. Well, say my state of games has been actually pretty good, surprisingly enough. I don't know, just shit's going on, so I haven't really felt like playing games. But jumped on actually yesterday with you, D. And we were playing some Terraria. And we started off new characters, so you didn't just load into my game and then go down and defeat the wall of flesh and then go, "Hi, Cecil." So that was fun. And that actually kind of sparked me to play a few other games. So I was playing Contrast with my daughter. You remember the old PlayStation 3 game Contrast?
Yes, I do. It was a pretty neat one.
Yeah, very story-driven puzzler, fun game. Played through that with her. That was a good time. I also picked up, thanks to Shadow Fox, I picked up Gran Turismo 7. And I gotta say, man, PS5, Gran Turismo 7, my brain wasn't comprehending all of the things that go along with new next generation consoles. Because the Xbox, I got the Xbox, and the controller's kind of cool. But there's not really much to it. It feels better. It's another controller. It just feels like a controller. Dude, the PlayStation 5 controller, hands down, I am giving them. It is the best freaking controller.
So I'm getting from you that they use the haptic feedback with Gran Turismo 7.
They used haptic feedback. They not only used that, okay. So anybody who's driven a stick shift or driven an old automatic, let's say, pre-2000 automatic, when you get in there and you start driving and it, you punch the gas and you reach for those gears, you get that chunk as you reach for that gear. That's you get the vibration of you slamming it into that next gear and popping that clutch and going. Dude, sitting there holding the controller. And not only do the triggers get more resistance depending on what vehicle you're in or depending on how fast you're going, but as I'm driving and it's shifting gears, it's actually shifting. I feel the shift in the triggers. Not in the whole. I felt in the whole controller because, it's a small, compact thing. But I felt them in the triggers more than anything else. Which, if you've driven a stick, you realize that you feel them in the pedals more than you feel them anywhere else. When you get that chunk.
Dude, I keep going by it in the store, look at it, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick up one of these days. I'm gonna pick up Gran Turismo 7. I think I should check that out. But now I'm definitely convinced I got to pick that up.
Dude, I was blown away. I'm a racing simulation fan, and anybody who knows racing simulation games, they'll go, there's Forza. I'll go, yep, and you play Xbox. Anybody who knows racing simulation games knows Gran Turismo. It's the top tier when it comes to racing simulation.
But it just blew me away when it first came out in the original PlayStation, and it just,
yeah.
It was just so unique.
The physics that they have now and the friction it's just, dude, I am ecstatic that I picked the game up, and there's a grind to it, and there is more of a grind in this game than I think I have seen in any other Gran Turismo game, and I am happy to do it because the game feels that good.
But also the effort that goes into that game. I mean, they actually visit the racetracks, map them out, they get the physics, they record stuff. I mean, it's insane how much they go into detail.
Dude, like, as you go over bumps in the road and you go over like the medians and stuff like that, and you get onto like everything feels different. It's just, it's worth a shot, man. It really is worth a shot. I've been playing Gran Turismo, Contrast. I also was actually just playing a game called Terminator Resistance. And that game is, I'm kind of going to put it on the scale, on like the little bit like Generation Zero, a little bit like Fallout, newer Fallout, not older Fallout. Yeah, like a cross between Generation Zero and Fallout. That's the feel I get to it. It's probably closer to Generation feel because of the robots, but I haven't gotten that far in it yet, so I haven't been any like T101s or T1000s or anything like that. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's definitely worth, if you can get it on sale, I think it's definitely worth the play. All right, D. Tell me about Germany. How was it?
It was great. I mean, they did have a little bit of the heat wave, but I caught the tail end of it, so I had a couple days of the heat, and then it cooled back off to more normal temperatures.
Oh, good.
But man, it was great. I mean, we saw we toured the Imperial Castle at Nuremberg, which was one of the major centers of power during the time. You know, if you were like, you know, powerful, you had that castle at Nuremberg, you would stop in. It was really cool. It was one of those castles that aren't just in ruins and stuff like that. It's still pretty much complete. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And is it the classic thought of a castle, like the stone with the archer slots and the fort looking?
Oh yeah, yeah, thing's enormous.
Well, the reason I say that is because there's a lot of castles, and I put in air quotes castles, and like
that are more palaces,
and England that are more. They look more like palaces than they do castles.
No. This is a castle complete with a tower, and me and my buddy, of course, he's also former military, but of course, both of us are out of shape as fuck, right? So we got the tour for the castle, and then we got the tour for this big, like one of the main watchtower. Fuck, that spiral staircase went on forever, man. Shit. I mean, we had to stop a couple times. We're like, jeez. It took us forever to get to the top. But then it was cool because that's where they had, like, when you get up to the, very top, they had all the iron, like, doors that would propped open where originally they had, like, the watchtower with the old guns, like the old cannons, and where they'd fire out.
Yeah. So
it was pretty neat. So it was really neat. And you could, and they just had like where used to be open windows. Of course, for safety, they put the metal bar so nobody can slip through, fall through. But then you could pull out, your camera and take pictures, and you know how like with a lot of the castles, the paint and the murals are starting to fade, and so there's like no pictures and everything else. It's just no flash. They allowed pictures inside of it. It was just no flash, so we got to go around taking pictures of all the cool stuff. Of course, it had a museum inside of it, so you got to see all the old armor, including some of the armor of some of the foreign nations that tried to attack or invade too. You had all the old the old rifles, guns, and cannons from about that time. When they started getting towards the end of the armor knights and more towards the gunfire and the cannons. And what's cool is that there was like this one rifle that it was enormous. And I'm like, how the hell? Well, it took two people, one to kind of fire it, and the other guy had to have almost like a little pike thing with a hook that would hold it up on the front and stuff like that. Like, literally took two people to aim and fire it. So it was pretty neat. They had they had the armor there. They had, like, the horse armor. They had the weapons of different types of pikes, halberds, swords. They had the, some of the devices they used to tell time or, like distance. They had some of the stuff they used for, like, the, water navigation. They had all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was looking through, and like I also had all the main noble houses at the time for like that area and everything else. I just kind of had to chuckle because I came across one that was Brandenburg, and you're like, what? Well, I used to I had a soldier on my team that I helped train with the communication stuff, and then he decided to go with Special Forces and made it.
You probably told me about him, and I just don't recall. Yeah, go ahead.
He's actually part of that family. He was a Brandenburg.
Oh, nice.
Like you only have that last name if you're part of that family. He's like, yeah. I mean, he was kind of like a southern redneck guy, but he was like one of them. So it's kind of cool. And he was cool that he was a really cool guy to me. It just, when I saw Brandenburg right there, it just made me remember my old buddy,
That's awesome.
But we did a lot of there's a lot of hiking trails over there too, like all over the place. The Germans are big into walking and hiking. And these hiking trails right throughout the forest and nature. Now, what's really cool is there's even areas there's no parking. You can't drive there and park it, but on some of those walks, they'll have like a little kid's playground where you could stop with your kids and play. They'll have little random playground, for the kids. We continue to walk through, and then they had almost like a little water playground, and then there was a little area on the edge of a big pond or lake, like a beach for swimming. Just you walk through, and there it is. And they had a little restaurant there. It's there's all kinds of cool shit along the way. You know what I mean? It's just wherever you go, there was 2 kids playgrounds right within walking distance of my buddy's house.
So would you call it touristy?
No, this wasn't a big tourist area. This is by where my buddy lived, which down in Bavaria, but he wasn't. I mean, it's not too far away to go to Regensburg, which is touristy, and some of the other areas. We were also about an hour and a half away from Munich and everything else. But no, the Germans just really like to have a lot of family-friendly stuff all built in. They'll have parks, plenty of parks to go to. We went to this one park, and it was a canal system, so part of the canal you could swim in, so they had people it created some rapids. You actually had people that did the kind of the surfing on the rapids thing. They were right there doing that. You could walk around this, nice with gardens and everything else. You'd have the canal. Some people were swimming in the canal. They'd mark off where you couldn't, where it wasn't safe. But it was really cool. Everybody just walk around, chilling out, having a good time. Little street vendors of the food, so you can get yourself some nice food. Of course, I ate some really damn good Jaeger schnitzel. I ate some doners, I drank a lot of the light beers, the Hesse light beers. They were really good. I had, of course, a Hefeweizen, but I actually drank a bunch of beers that the light beers I don't normally touch. So I decided to try a few new things because, I had less, because my buddy recommended it. We went swimming at a big, pond, lake area. And then we also went to this other area, that was a little beach, on a big lake. It was a small beach, and they layered it and everything else. It was kind of stacked and everything else, kind of there's gardens, you have a flat area here, it goes up, and then there's a flat part here, and right by the end of the sandy beach, which is all human created, but they had a bar there too, so you could get all your mixed drinks and everything else. There's a bar right there. There was a restaurant right up there, with restrooms and everything else. So it was pretty chill. I mean, we went to we did go to an Irish pub, of course, because there was an Irish pub in Regensburg that we liked. That went there, had some food there and everything else, had a few drinks there.
I don't know why, but an Irish pub in Germany it doesn't work in my brain, man. It does not compute.
What's the most hilarious part? I've been to several Irish pubs in Germany in several different areas, right? And then you'll hear an odd accent with the German that's being spoken, and the guy's like, "Oh, he'd be he's really from Ireland." You'd literally have Irish people there. I
mean, that's respectable.
Yeah, they'd have a couple Irish guys working there. He'd be speaking fluent German too, but Irish as hell. Complete the whole. You'll crack right into the English with the whole Irish accent. Tell you why he's there and everything else. So it was pretty cool, man, and so it was pretty enjoyable. We did, like I said, we did a lot of walking, which is awesome.
Cool.
So it was just really healthy. You know what I mean? We did a bunch of swimming because it was warm and everything else. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, the one thing you'll find that in Germany, it's surprisingly family friendly and family oriented. It really is. So you're never too far. Yeah, you're never too far away from a lot of family-friendly stuff. And they're, like I said, they're big in, riding bicycles. So there are plenty of those trails for walking, also for riding bikes. They got the electric bikes, regular mountain bikes. Of course, everybody's walking. Yeah, it was really nice.
So Shinzu, you made a beer.
I did make a beer.
So tell me about this beer. Give me the 411 here.
It was a pain because as we were making the beer, it's traditionally 5 gallons. So I have built my own mash tun out of cooler, and we had tried boiling the water, and the outside burner we had with the propane tank attached to it just was not getting hot enough, so it took forever to get the water to boil. But then we put in some, put in a little the oats that we needed to do / grain, and then we had some fresh, like legitimately fresh hops that had been frozen from the year prior, because my friend grows hops, so we just used those Cascade hops, and we pitched them at like 15 and then 30 minutes in, and then we just put some in right as it was pulling off the boiling pot after we poured the water into the mash tun, then let it steep there for like an hour, then poured it into the pot, boiled it again, then that's when we added the thing. So it's basically just like a smash, a very quick, easy to do IPA, and it was ready to go in like 2 weeks. And we just hooked it up to a keg and put some CO2 on it because we didn't want to wait to have it naturally do its fermentation or naturally carbonate itself. But it was super good. It was about, I think it was like between 5 and 6%, and it was just super crushable. Like I was just crushing that like all day while we were camping. I was just crushing that like nonstop.
Nice. I actually did not have a topic for tonight. I'm excited in a couple weeks to do the next episode of the G.N.A. or next session of the G.N.A. Misadventure League. I think we're doing that the 16th. I think that's when we got it rolled for, the 16th. So that's going to be a fun time. I actually I've written out about 90-ish% of the remainder of the story, because my writing process, unfortunately, is not like I sit down and I have everything of whatever could happen through the entire story, like right off the bat. Usually the first session, I've got a skeletal structure of what I want it to be or what I think it'll be. And then usually after the first session, I figure out where people are going to go. And that's where I make my mark. I go, okay, this is where people are kind of like working their way towards. This is how the storyline's going to go. So I've got a really, I've told 2 people, one being my daughter, one being one being one of the people I was at the Bourbon Trail, Kentucky bachelor party with. So it's going to be interesting where we go from here. I've got a breadcrumb trail that the players are already on. They've already figured out part of the breadcrumb trail. It's just to see how long they take to figure out the rest of the breadcrumb trail. Oh, but that's going to be super fun.
And a happy note is they're not just a bunch of murder hobos.
So far, they're not, but they are pretty quick to fight. But I'm really glad on this last session, because there was 2 people. There was actually your character and Magnate's character down at the beach. And I'm really glad that you guys took my warning from the first session to heart. Because, all right, I'm going to give you a little hint about something coming up. And Dee, this is going to be a little info since you came to the show tonight that you'll have. Nobody else will. And hopefully you use this for good and not evil. And this is something that in every DMing conversation I've ever gotten into, they always say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. There are going to be, depending on how you guys go, several battles that you physically cannot win. And the outcomes of these battles are going to be a lot of different things. Hopefully, none of the battles turn out as a total player wipe. There is a distinct possibility that could happen.
Well, you know what they say. Play stupid games, win new character sheet prizes.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and the best prize of all, a blank character sheet. No, I'm trying to run this one, so I've, as I said, I've written out about 90% of it, and I I've got some ideas on how I'm going to make it work. I hope that you guys are all like, when you figure out 100% what's going on, I hope that you guys are like, holy shit. Time will tell. I just hope we get to the end of this one, because it's nothing more frustrating than when like I get that inspiration and I get everything written out and then it just peters off and like I never get to finish. It's like edging, waiting for your significant other or whatever to enter the room and be like, yeah, ready to go, and then they're just like, nah, I got a headache, and you're like, ooh.
They actually have a new model of the PS5 that they've been releasing too.
Oh, really? Which one's that?
It looks the same. I mean, you're on like just inspection quickly, like looking at it, it's not going to look any different.
Okay.
It is a little bit lighter, so it's going to be lighter than the PS5. It has a smaller heat sink and different fans. So they did a few adjustments, and although it seems like counterintuitive, so far the reports are it probably runs about the same temp as the old one.
Really?
And you should get the same performance out of it, because they did a little bit better when they reconfigured stuff. They did a little bit better, I guess, with the airflow. So they can go with a slightly smaller heatsink without actually having it run hotter. So there's been like conflicting reports I've seen. Some say it runs a couple degrees hotter, and some say it's actually cooler. So, but otherwise, it's not really the only way to tell. From first glance, is to actually look at like the serial number will give it away.
Interesting.
So I just thought that'd be my, because we like to play PS5. I just thought that was interesting. So now people that are getting them now are going to get a slightly different model from like say what we have.
So I got a question for you. Being a PS5 owner yourself, is your PS5 loud?
Not too bad. It does run like a little bit louder than say like the PS3, PS4. It does run a little louder, but I'm also deaf as a post. My hearing has gotten so much worse lately.
So here's why I asked that question. When I turn my PS5 on, it has a loud hum to it, but I know that that's the CD-ROM drive or the Blu-ray drive spinning up and reading the disc, and then it finally once that calms down, I barely hear the damn thing. Granted, it's across the room, so maybe there's that, but...
Okay, so that's what you're just talking about, the initial speed up of the drive. Yeah, I mean, mine does it too.
No, but after that, is it loud?
Oh, after that? No, really, I don't really notice it.
Yeah, I don't know. At the Xbox, I got to admit, the Xbox X is pretty quiet. Like I have that literally. So the PlayStation I have probably 10 feet across the room, but the Xbox X is literally right next to me, within like 3-4 feet of me. And when I turn that thing on, like I hear it like turn on and it spins up and does its whole, "Hey, I'm awake, I'm alive." Then after that, it's almost dead silent.
Yeah, the PS5 is known to be a little bit louder than that, but I have them sitting right next to each other right up here. A few feet from me.
I'm super surprised on how quiet it actually is.
It's also a bit smaller. I mean, thicker. It's thicker because it's more boxy, but I thought it was surprisingly compact, the Xbox One X. Surprisingly small and compact, and I'm impressed with it.
Compared to the PlayStation 5 is very bombastic. Like it's loud. You can't hide that thing in a room.
Yeah, it's like you get it. It's like, hey guy, you know your furniture? Yeah, get a bigger shelf.
Yeah, right. Have you guys been tracking? There's a Silent Hill 2 remake that some pictures surface stuff online.
I heard tell of something about it, but I haven't read too much into it yet.
So I'm still trying to decide, and I haven't read all the article, which shame on me. It probably tells me right in the damn article that this is a homemade whatever thing or something like that. But I'm debating on whether it's a fan made one or if it's legit real. It looks good. It looks like it's true to a remake. I mean, I don't know what else to say here. But let me quickly scan this because it looks it looks well done. Let me see here. The company introduced a year ago, the company found Konami to provide content, development, knowledge. Of course, it was and I'm reading this off of WCCFtech.com.
Yeah, I just saw an article too. It looks like there was some leaked screenshots of Konami actually, making it, not a fan made.
Yeah, this does look like it's developed by Blobber Team. I'm saying that wrong. I got to say though, the images, they look good. If this is indeed a true remake of Silent Hill 2, I wasn't really happy with the I don't know, I'm going to put in quotes, a remake of Silent Hill 1, where they remember Shattered Memories they came out with? It's like a retelling. Yeah. So it was a remake, retelling on, I don't know. However, I count it as a remake because it's literally the first storyline. They just kind of shifted some things around. Which in a remake, that's what you do. You shift some things around. Anyway, so I count it. So I'm curious if this is going to be like a remake or if it's going to be a when they say it's an HD remake where it's literally the old game but they just update everything around it.
Yeah, like they slightly update the graphics a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like Borderlands. Remember when Borderlands 1 Enhanced came out? It's literally Borderlands 1, but it's in the Borderlands 2 engine. I'm curious if it's something like that, or if it's going to be a true remake where they shift some things around and make it a more modernized version of the story. Oh, I'm curious. What else has been going on in the world of gaming and news?
I know there's remember the Tales series, or not Tales, the Legend of Heroes series. I really like. They started off in the RPG. They started off on the PSP, at least for here Western audiences. Okay,
no, I was thinking like Legend of Evermore and stuff like that.
Eventually gets into but eventually gets into the Trails in the Sky. The Trails series.
Okay,
as part of the Legend of Heroes. They've got 4 new ones coming out in the next couple of years.
Okay.
So I've got those 4 reserved, so I just think that's kind of cool because it continues on that series I really like.
Nice.
So it's I'm excited for that because I still love those RPGs. So there's a lot of good games coming out soon. There's a new Mario Rabbids game coming out. For those that like that tactical game with the Mario and the Rabbids characters.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a pretty neat game. My kid really likes it, so got that pre-ordered.
I gotta admit, the stuff that they added in Terraria is pretty decent. Like I'm impressed with how much they've updated that. It's not like Hello Games level, but pretty cool.
But there's been a lot of good content they're adding in.
Oh crap!
I'm still waiting for the. Too bad it got pushed back, but I really want to see the Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake come out finally.
Oh, yeah.
That was some bullshit. I had that pre-ordered, paid for. That was some bullshit. It's all finished, it was ready to go, and they're just like, oh, well, the stuff in Russia. Nobody gonna get pissed at that game?
Yeah, let it come out. Let it be free.
But what were you saying?
No, I was just remembering a Hogwarts Legacy game. Supposed to come out, I think, the end of this year.
Yes,
but it got pushed to, I want to say early next year now.
Yeah, it got pushed back, but, because my wife's really looking forward to that. A big open world Harry Potter RPG.
Yes. And
the wife
is just it's super open world.
Yeah, the wife's told me, like, I'd die if I didn't get it for her. Yeah, I'd be a dead man if I didn't get it for her.
I would expect that.
Yeah, fair enough. No, so I'm planning on pre-ordering, like, the special edition, because she's a huge Harry Potter nerd. She just, loves the Harry Potter stuff, so I'm absolutely going to get that because that should be fun.
Oh, here's something that just came across my plate. That literally just came across my plate right this second. Dune Awakening. Have you seen it?
No.
Massively multiplayer, open world survival craft.
That sounds cool, and of course in the universe of Dune.
On Arrakis, yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty boss. I don't know, man. Dune was a great. Dune was a great. Like, do you remember Dune CD? Like back for the PC, back forever ago.
Yeah, I remember. I used to sit around when you played a lot of those games.
Oh God, I love that game. I love that game so much.
That was a cool one.
Oh, I just had another game in my brain, and now it just fell out. You know what game series that I honestly am a little disappointed on the direction that they went with it?
Which is that?
And I really wish that they kept it in its like isometric style view. Persona.
Yeah.
Like
it kind of started making Persona a lot more like the Shin Megami Tensei ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
so...
It really did. Like I liked the isometric, like, you were in first-person view, kind of scrolling around almost wizardry style for the first game. I even didn't mind I think it was the second or third game where they made the exploration a little bit less wizardry and more like one style. I didn't even mind that so much. But yeah, like they totally changed it around.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked that old style of Persona 1, and also even I even really enjoyed Persona 2.
I did. Along with Suikoden, that's another game that I honestly think should come back.
Yeah, that was a great series. I still have. I think I'm just missing like the later couple of them, like the later, maybe like 5 on PS2, but I have most of them.
Shinzu, you're quiet over there, man.
Sorry, I'm actually looking at jobs.
What were you searching for?
As I do this, jobs in information technology that are around my area, since I'm going to be here for another year, since I just signed another lease with a friend of mine, so they can cut living expenses down. So I was like, I'll just look for something that's open, that pays decently, that doesn't take up a ton of my time, so I can continue my own education in my own time. And I got really distracted. I fell into that deep rabbit hole going like, oh, this position looks cool. Let's take a look in the company. Oh, this company looks cool. Let's take a look at this other company that is also posting. And then I was still listening to everything you said. I was just like, yep, job hunting now.
It's all good, man. No, man. If I can help, let me know. I'm more than happy to.
Well, one neat thing I've been following liking is that, of course, the company Nice, you got the Disgaea series and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, Nice has the Penny Presents Nice Classic Volume series it's been releasing.
Okay.
It's basically releasing like classic, like remakes of their classic RPGs in these like little special editions. And this is the third one just came out. I just picked this up a couple days ago, and that's La Pucelle Ragnarok and Rhapsody on that. So they're re-releasing some cool old RPGs, re-releasing them on these little, little special editions for the Switch, and I really appreciate that. I really like that, because some of these games are getting pretty damn expensive if you want to, revisit them.
I just remembered what I wanted to say, and it's a gripe. So I was scrolling through. Did any of you pick up Aliens Fireteam Elite?
No.
Okay, I see Shinzu nod. All right, then you may know my gripe right now. When I purchased the game, I spent all the money, made sure I got the highest level 1 of whatever they could possibly come out with. It came with season 1 and season 2 of whatever the hell it was. So I'm like, yes, I've got content for at least the next year and a half. You know what I just found out? I wasn't paying attention because the game fell off my radar.
Oh, it's content for 10 minutes.
No, they released a new DLC pack for it, which is a charged DLC that doesn't encompass in that season 1, season 2 crap. Right? I thought, oh man, I'm paying my premium right now. I figured, okay, this is me and my infinite wisdom. I figured,
what did they do? What did they do? Talk to EA and say, good idea.
Well, dude, I was buying it thinking all right, I'm doing Destiny, where you buy Destiny and then you buy the ultra premium pack and you get the next 4 seasons, which basically equates to the next year and a half of content. I was like, all right, cool. That's what I'm buying. I'm buying season 1 and season 2. That's got to be everything's coming out for the next year or so, right? Or maybe 18 months. And maybe the game's been out for 18 months and now we're on that cusp where it's been out longer and I just don't realize it. It doesn't feel like it's been out for that long. But yeah, dude. I just saw it, and it gives you extra. It gives you more story. The one thing that I was griping about the whole time was that the story was so ungodly short. It was almost not like worth buying the game. And now, more stories come out, but you got to pay $15 to get it. And I'm like, oh, you guys.
Yeah. The game is a year old. It was launched in August 2021, according to Steam. And yeah, my major gripe with that game is that they had a wonderful idea. And then they just nutted it. They took all the joy out of that game, and they could have done like one or two tweaks to make that game infinitely better. My friends and I bought that game. We descended on multiplayer. And then like after a day or two, we're like, this is really freaking boring. And we just all abandoned it. I haven't been back.
Dude, the story of it, I loved. Like, I was going through it. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted in an Aliens game. We cranked through the storyline. I think we went through on normal first. I'm like, all right, that was cool. Let's go through on the hardest difficulty level and really crank this shit out. We did. Got through it. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. Then they released the swarm mode because the swarm mode didn't come out right away. We're like, all right, let's do swarm mode. So we do swarm mode. And it's like, all right, this is kind of fun. Like, one map. All right, well, let's crank away on swarm mode. So we're sitting there playing swarm mode, and everybody fell off. I'm literally the only guy like sitting there grinding away, left alive, and I'm like, all right. Well, then I finally gave it up, and I'm like, well, I guess that's all the content. I'll just wait for him to release more, and I'll jump back in the game later. And then this happens. I'm like, oh god, I want to go to their website. Like, I loved, like, oh man, the weapons felt good. Like, all the different weapons felt good. The AI, the enemy AI, it was a little lacking in some spots, but all in all, it felt like I was fighting aliens. Like, they were using the wall, they were using the ceiling, there were specific types that would run across the floor more than anything else. It was still terrifying when you walked in and you saw those eggs and they'd open up and you'd be like, where the hell did the facehugger go? Like, it was still terrifying. There was still so much to it that was like, all right, yeah, this feels good. I like this. Oh, but man, then they do this shit.
Well, Cecil, it all boils down to you shouldn't have wished for a new Aliens game with a monkey paw. You know, something always goes wrong. You know the old story, like Homer Simpson, he wished for a sandwich, and he was like, kind of dry. The sandwich is dry. No.
That's what it was. It was.
Yeah, you wished for it on the monkey paw, and now they kind of, it was almost there, but then it kind of got you in the end.
Well, there's another game coming out. It's an RTS, and I forget what the name is, but it's in the Alien genre. It's in the Aliens license. I forget what it's called. I got a real, I don't know, kind of isometric, not Diablo-ish. I got more of like it looked more turn-based, but it says it's an RTS. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that it's going to be like real-time strategy, but there's a lot more to it. Like, you had to get up to doors, you had to weld them open or seal them shut. There was a real more strategy around it, and it was permadeath. So, like, if a character in your squad dies, they're dead for good. There's no bringing them back. And I like that idea. I like the roguelike idea of it. I just hope that they don't go down the route of like full-on roguelike, where you've got to die 100 times before you can finish the game once. Like Hades. Did you guys play Hades?
Yeah.
Okay. So Hades was great because you play the son of Hades and you die and you end up in Hades. And then you go through and try to escape Hades and you die and then you end up back in Hades or back in the underworld. It's like, all right, I get this. Like, it's a cycle. It's Groundhog's Day. I get this. This makes sense. Even faster than light. You know, you start off your new crew. As you start going through, you get like, you die more times. You get to the end. You get permanent power-ups. I get that. Rogue Legacy. Like, that's another great one where you go through and you're the son. Oh, okay. Well, you're the son or daughter. That makes sense. You inherited whatever they brought with them. So that makes sense of how you keep your powers. I just don't know how they're going to do it on this one, because if they make it that way, I'll be a little upset.
In that kind of the same universe there, but getting away from games into movies, did you happen to see Prey?
Yes!
I enjoyed it.
I loved it. I loved Prey. It felt... Shinzu, did you see Prey?
Didn't even know it was coming out.
Oh, man. Okay, so it was released on Hulu, I think. I think Hulu actually like funded it or produced it or whatever. I'm not disappointed. Like, okay, let's list off the Predator movies that we've had most recently. So we've had The Predator, which at the end of it was it was a predator dropping off a suit so that humans could fight predators with a predator suit. Because
it would honestly be easier just to quote the last good Predator movie we've had.
So Predator 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Predator 2. There's Predator, which was fantastic. There's Predator 2, which is good. Not great, but it was good. Like how Danny Glover killed a predator. I gotta suspend disbelief a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, and what do we have after that? We had Aliens versus Predator, which was utter trash. Like, I love Aliens and I love Predator. I love the. Did either of you read the first Alien versus Predator book or any of the Alien versus Predator books?
I mean, I read some of the comics, but I didn't really read the books.
So the comics, actually, if you read the first arc of Alien vs. Predator comics, it actually is the first book, Prey. It takes place with Nagati, I think her name was, or Nagati, or something like that. And she was working on a human colony off in the planet somewhere. They basically had herds of, I think they were Brahmin, to be perfectly honest, because they weren't cows. And predators seed the world with alien eggs. And a queen ends up getting hatched, and it starts taking over more of the Brahmin, and they have way more aliens than they can handle, and it turns into a whole shit show. The first Alien vs. Predator book, if you have not read it, utterly fantastic. I want to say it's by Steve Perry or Stephanie Perry. It might even be by S.D. Perry, which is Stephanie and Danielle, or were Stephen and Danielle Perry together writing the book. I honestly don't even remember. All I know is it's a great friggin' book. The movie, though, like there are elements of the movie that are just like the book. Like, for instance, you remember at the end, you guys saw Aliens vs. Predator, right? Shinzu? Okay, I'm so sorry that you did, but at least you'll understand what I'm saying. So at the end of that movie, you remember when the Scar Predator dies and like bloods her, like marks her with his sign, and then like the other. So that happened in the book. Only in the book, what happened is that they were being chased through a ship, and as they were being chased through the ship, the queen alien, which they found, was chasing them through. They got into like the cockpit, and as it stabbed Scar or whatever, I think his name was Broken Tusk in the book, stabs him through the chest, basically like giving him a fatal wound. She shuts the door on the queen's head, basically decapitating her, and like there was. Like she was kind of like hands through like this, pulling through her head, and then it slammed shut, which of course severed her fingers and her head, and there she's all dead. Well, in the Predator world, or in the Predator lore, or whatever you want to call it, culture, when you become blooded, they basically take one of the fingers off of an alien and mark you on the head with their specific sign. Well, because Broken Tusk realized that the human couldn't handle that type of acid on their skin without dying. He picks it up and he spits on it to dilute it. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting little tidbit that they put in there extra. And then he marks her. But the movie just like literally takes that whole storyline and just destroys it. And then Alien vs. 2 Requiem. God. I honestly would prefer to have anal fissures than watch that movie again. I've watched it once.
I never watched it because I was kind of disappointed with the previous one and heard bad stuff about that. I just never really had an urge.
Good for you. Alien vs. Predator Requiem was by far, like, AVP was trash. AVP Requiem, dude, if I didn't know better, I would say we bull directed it. Like, that's how bad it was.
You know that scene in South Park with George Lucas raping a stormtrooper?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like that, except whoever owns AVP or the Alien and the Predator franchise, yeah, Fox is just absolutely raping them, because those movies, you're right, they were absolutely atrocious. And I just the amount of star power they had specifically in like Requiem, and it was just like they thought this was a good idea. Like they were filming it and everyone's like, yeah, this is a great movie. This is going to be amazing. And I'm just like, how deluded are these people? Like, if anyone read the script, they could have told you this was just absolutely a pile of shit. Why and how it got that much money to be made, and why they made it, and why they build it as like basically like a YouTube apology video for the script they did beforehand, and then still make it that much worse.
Dude,
How?
right? Well, so
Because
then,
it's Hollywood.
so then after AVP Requiem, we had Predators, right? It went Predators and then The Predator. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Yeah, that's the one where they like get dropped onto the planet, right? And they're all just like in a hunting reserve. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that movie was, I'm not going to say it was good. It was okay at best. Like,
let's just be realistic. That movie was basically just a giant, like, make the crowd happy, give them what they want, and nothing but what they want. Just predators killing people and people battling predators. No storyline needed.
Take a drink.
oh. And that's what Predators was. I mean, it didn't bring anything new to the franchise. It had, so the one thing that I did like is that they touched on in Predators so you remember when they had the one Predator that was tied up to the post and was basically getting the crap kicked out of him? Well, so that is what happens when a Predator goes against the hunting code. And there's specific hunting code, like they've got a whole bunch of different stuff in it. In the books, they go into it really extensively. But some of the things that'll break against that is like, you only hunt something that can hunt you back. If it doesn't pose a threat, you don't touch it. That type of thing. And if you, for some reason, go against that code, basically all of your kind just go against you and just murk you. So that was one thing that I liked out of Predators. Was I thought that was cool. Lawrence Fishburne's his character in it, like, God.
I expected him to have a volleyball with a face painted on it called Wilson.
Right? Like that was what it felt. It really felt like they were trying to go for that Tom Hanks character.
Oh wait, there was that one scene too where the predator was like right there, and then they turned around and the predator was gone too. Like the predator could have just immediately wiped them all out, and he just was like, "I'm gone." He was there for like the shock value, and he was gone too. That was like my biggest problem with that movie, is that every time the predators could absolutely just wipe them completely out, they just walked away.
That's sad, is that I really like Lawrence Fishburne, but that was just kind of
I mean, he did a good job playing a nutso crazy person, but like he should have read that script and said, "I am not getting near this with a 10-foot pole." Okay, so here's some of my other things that were really bugged me about Predators. One, the plasma cannon that they had. All of a sudden, like, this thing can literally disintegrate an entire human body. Like, really? When did that happen? When did all of a sudden they turn that to 11?
That's when they went to Windows 10.
Yeah. Like, there were so many things in Predators that just they flopped them around. And it's just it.
You know what the main thing about Predators that annoyed me was? The fact that they made it.
Well, I mean, that's the AVP movies for me. Like, that's like they should have done so much better. There was so much cool potential in AVP, and then okay, AVP. What's the okay? When thinking back to AVP, and I know it's going to be hard, what's one of the first things that come to mind that they just completely broke with the first Alien vs. Predator movie?
Don't you make us relive that trauma. Don't you do that to us, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on us.
What's the one thing, the one most obvious thing that they broke in the whole Aliens mythos in that movie?
Now I'm thinking real hard. Oh, the facehuggers?
Dude, the facehuggers jumped on them and then immediately like fell off within like 5 minutes. And then almost immediately there's a chest burster. So the gestation period of these specific alien eggs just happens to be, 25 minutes?
Something like that, yeah. They really did. I don't even know if they explained that either. Like, there's probably some short documentary afterwards explaining that these were specifically bred and created for the purpose of hunting, and that could very well be the case.
They were all that way.
They're the drive-through version.
They were
The
all
Big
that
Lots
way.
version.
Like, literally, the Predators literally seeded planets with aliens specifically to hunt them, and they seeded it and then didn't show up for days to give the aliens a chance to, develop. And you're going to tell me this thing went from facehugger to full-grown alien in, what, an hour?
I hated the fact that, like, we've never found alien, like, on our planet before, and yet we have all of these, like, areas where there were just nests on the planet Earth all of a sudden as well.
So,
like, what the is this?
It's literally the book Alien's Hive. And it's a bastardization of Alien's Hive. I think now Alien's Berserker had the big robot. Earth Hive, I think it was Earth Hive and the first Alien versus Predator book. It's like they took the two of them, mashed them together, and said, yeah, let's make something work. I mean, Kevin Smith could have wrote a better Aliens versus Predator movie.
How can we inadvertently say global warming is going to kill us all? Oh, I got it. Let's put a giant alien temple under an iceberg.
Exactly, yeah. Let's put it inside a giant glacier. It'll work. Oh my god.
It's just so bad. So you know what the biggest vibe I got of AVP? Freddy versus Jason. That's the entire time I'm thinking about. This movie was made as a joke. Like, there's no way they're serious about this. They probably got the same director, or the director at least watched Freddy versus Jason, was like, I want that. I want all of that.
At least Freddy versus Jason was funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was Freddy vs. Jason was a fantastic movie because it was absolutely hilarious. This was just somebody watched that movie and said, we need to do this, but with aliens and predators. But let's take all the humor out and then just make it as cancerous as possible.
I mean, dude, tell me a funnier scene than a possessed kid going to frigging inject Jason Voorhees with about 30 times as much horse tranquilizer that's needed to take down a hippo. Like, tell me something not funnier. And then Jason just literally cuts the dude in two as he's injecting him. Tell me something funnier than that's happened in a horror movie. And if you bring up Uwe Boll's movie, I swear to God, I will drive to you and punch you in the testicles.
Lamageddon, Thanksgiving, any one of those movies.
Okay, I'll give you
I was actually going to say, do you remember the movie Repossessed with Leslie Nielsen, which was a spoof on The Exorcist?
That wasn't a horror movie. That was a parody of a horror movie.
Technically, yeah, he's right. It was a parody. So you failed. You failed. Turn your mic off and go home.
Like, okay, Cabin in the Woods.
Actually, Cabin in the Woods was hilarious, and it also explains every horror movie.
But Cabin in the Woods was a true, like, an actual horror movie that just happened to be funny as shit.
Leprechaun?
Okay, yeah, I'll give you Leprechaun. So what I said was 100% wrong. There are way more funnier scenes than a kid injecting Jason Voorhees with 40 times as much horse tranquilizer that's needed to take down a hippo and then getting cut in two. I'm wrong.
I mean, but this is only like one of two movies in which case somebody got ridiculously high and got possessed as a result of being high and then proceeded to go against Jason Voorhees.
True.
So you
what was
that.
The other movie?
I mean, you pick any movie that Jason Voorhees was in and not necessarily possessed, but they got high all the time. All those kids are getting high constantly, either smoking or getting drunk.
Oh, getting drunk. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the first movie. Were they getting high? They were just having a lot of sex.
Well, they were having sex. The whole thing about the first movie was that it was the mother that was killing everybody. So she was just getting revenge on those that were ignoring and shirking their responsibilities.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, back to my gripe on Aliens versus Predator. So then we had The Predator, which it turns out that The Predator is actually that Predator's a good guy.
but yet kills everybody in the thing.
Murks
Yeah,
everybody.
Murks
I'm
everybody.
going to kill you all. But I'm the good guy.
At the very end, it turned out the real predator was inside us all along.
Well, I mean, have you seen Humanity? Yeah, I'd say he is the good guy in this case. I mean, have you seen, like, Florida Man, Florida Woman? We kind of deserve it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We've already established that Florida Man and Florida Woman are just cryptids. They possess people to do really stupid things, and they move on to find their next host.
So they move to Texas.
Oh, God. Is that why the grid's so fucked up down there?
That's probably because at one point in time, Florida Man and or Florida Woman fell into a bourbon barrel and just got barrel-aged for a while.
Dude, come on, man. Florida Man, like, every time I read something Florida Man, I know it's going to be good.
It's going to be like Monty Python met with, do you remember, like, the trippiness that was the Yellow Submarine cartoon?
Yeah.
It's like something out of that. It's just, you know, it's going to be fucking bizarre, like like another dimension. It's just weird. Like, what did they do next?
Florida Man is the epitome of the truth is stranger than fiction.
You ever play the game, you have like 4 or 5 articles, and one of them isn't Florida Man, and you try to figure out which one is not Florida Man, the odd one out, and then if you get it wrong, you have to drink.
I don't know, but I want to play this game. I want to play it right now. Like, I want to. This game has to be played on this show. Find it. We will do it. I swear to God, I'll have a bottle of tequila ready. This has to happen. And
I think we should. I'll try to look at that game.
Shaking my head. This has to happen. All right. So anyway, back to Prey, which we totally tangent off there because now we just had to gripe about bad Predator movies. Prey was actually a good Predator movie. It had the feel of the first 2 Predator movies where it was back to the roots of there's just a single Predator and they're trying to basically like just go on a hunt.
Yeah, I think it's like they're coming of age.
So, since I haven't seen it, they said this was like straight to like this is something that Hulu had put forward and they paid for it and they had it created. So it looks like the secret of creating a good Predator movie is to remove Fox from the equation entirely.
Well, so that's not the case though, because if you got to keep in mind, Hulu. So Disney bought Fox. Hulu is owned by Disney.
Yeah, so we remove Fox from the equation because it's Disney now.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that people from Fox are still working on it, but yeah, you're right. Remove Fox from the picture, and you get a good Predator movie. But
does this mean that the alien queen is a Disney princess or queen?
I hope so.
Technically, yes.
Like, God, I hope so. I want to see it in the next Kingdom Hearts. I'd better see aliens in the next Kingdom Hearts. I swear to God, I will drive to wherever I have to and cock punch somebody if I do not see aliens in the next Kingdom Hearts.
Well, good luck. You're going to have to ride with me to make that possible, because that's Japan.
I'll do it.
Squaresoft.
I'll do it. Yes, I'm there. No, so...
Didn't Fox also own the Marvel for a bit?
X-Men.
And X-Men, but it was the Fantastic Four too, right? Did they produce the really bad Fantastic Four movies?
They've all been really bad, so I'm not 100% sure. I think you're right. Yeah, Fox owned mutants. That's why you've never seen mutants in the MCU. That's why Quicksilver and Wanda Maximoff were both like genetically altered beings instead of mutants. Now that Fox is part of Disney, we can actually get mutants in there.
Yeah, it's 20th Century Fox. They're the ones that did the Fantastic Four. Man, they just really strike out. Did they do the Doom movie? If they did the Doom movie, the one with The Rock, like the original Rock one, if they did that one, it's going to be like, yeah, that's the reason why. It's just, I'm looking it up right now.
Sounds like Yui Bowl has some competition.
Oh, that was Universal. We almost had them.
A guilty pleasure of mine is I actually enjoyed the first Doom movie up until they went first-person shooter. Once they did that first-person shooter segment, I was like, nah, I don't know about that. Did you guys see Doom Annihilation? The newest Doom movie? Okay. I'm not going to say it was good, but it wasn't bad either.
I'm a little concerned because whenever you say it wasn't bad, it's not good, and you're like, you should watch it with an open mind, people end up watching movies and then they'll be scarred. Like you said, you basically said the same thing about Resident Evil. That was dog shit.
I think that's how you should describe the human centipede to new victims.
Now, see, okay, now, first off, with Resident Evil, I just said it had a lot of nostalgia in it, and I enjoyed that part of it. I felt it was good because of that. Now, I am definitely not going to say that you should go out and watch Doom Annihilation. However, if you are a Doom fan and you found the first Doom movie palatable, it's worth a watch. It's a female protagonist this time, which I thought was interesting that they went with a female protagonist. I don't know if they were just trying to do like the whole woke thing or if there was like a specific reasoning behind it, but it didn't take away, in my opinion, because it was still like they still juiced her up on some super whatever hormones and she went kicked Demon's ass. So that was pretty cool. Okay, but before I forget, because I keep getting side-railed, one of the things I loved about Prey was that it took place back in the 1700s. The Predator's technology was like dwarfed. Like they didn't have a plasma caster. It was using, a spear gun. It was using nets. It was using things like that.
I disagree. I disagree because clearly in AVP during the old times, you could see them firing the plasma cannons from the top of their pyramids.
I thought, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't like the Predators didn't actually develop their technology? They kind of just took and adopted it?
Yep. 100%. They stole like almost every bit of their technology.
Nice.
At least that's how the books went.
Yeah.
I can't say
that's what I was referencing. I was referencing, comic books type.
Yeah. So the plasma casters, that's one of the reasons why AVP, I think, should be stricken from all of existence. Plus, the plasma casters weren't something that they had. Like, it's not something that they originally came up with. So they stole all of their equipment. They stole literally everything. But the thing I loved about Prey was that it was like his equipment almost seemed primitive. The only thing that I didn't like about it were the visions that they went through. So the one vision that they had, which had like the heads-up display on it, that came, like, the last time you saw that was, I think, in the movie The Predator, or maybe it was Predators. I think it was The Predator that was in. And that was one of the things that I didn't like about it, because it seemed like that was a jump ahead in technology, but it was way back in the 1700s.
I need to see the very first Predator, the one that has the helmet on, but everything then like analog and has like dials and shit.
Well, that's this one, dude. So this one's been dubbed the Primal Predator, and his face mask looks way less like a metal face mask and more like a bone face mask. It's really, I got to admit that the design that they did on this guy, I really liked. I liked a lot more than I thought I was going to. And one of the big gripes that I think everybody, like I think Wolfman even was bitching about it. And I say bitching lovingly. It's just, a gripe that came up was that how could, an Indian, feathers, not dots, how could an Indian kill a predator back in the 1700s? And it just goes, like, the way the movie plays out goes to show exactly what they wrote in the books, which explain. So, like in the books, they explain there's soft meat and there's hard meat, and hard meat is what they hunt, which is the xenomorphs. But soft meat, hard meat will impale you, will sneak up on you, will can kill you, can eviscerate you in seconds in a one-on-one combat. But soft meat is way more dangerous because soft meat can think, and that's one of the things they show in this movie in Prey is that humans can think. And it's that element of surprise that always gives the predator an advantage. Once you take that surprise away, humans seem to be able to come out on top.
It would be interesting if they kind of showcase that the entire reason why the predators are even interested in Earth is because we keep killing them. So, like, if it was like the prey goes in, or the predator, the primal predator goes to planet Earth and then comes home and he's just like, yeah, I got like 50 of these guys, super easy as hell, go on, have fun, or, you know, let's go find something a little bit more challenging, or is it literally because we keep killing them so they keep coming?
So the mythos is exactly what you just said. So the reason they come to Earth is after they've been blooded, after they become hunters, they come to Earth for like final prize, the final, like the ultimate hunt. Because soft meat, humans keep killing all, like every predator that seems to show up, they seem to get killed. And how this one, like, okay, spoiler alert, this one dies too. Shocker, right? How this one dies is I didn't feel like it was taken away. The one thing that I got to question though, because we saw the gun at the end of the second Predator movie. How did the gun get from Prey to the second Predator movie? I want to know that.
Wait, there's a gun that transfers or transcends movies or decades or something?
Okay, so do you remember seeing Predator 2 with Danny Glover?
I do remember, but I don't remember the exact details of the movie.
Okay, so,
yeah, he's talking about the old flintlock pistol.
Okay, so at the end of Predator 2, so the Predators are big on trophies. If if a Predator kills something, it takes a skull as a trophy. That's their big thing. Predators are big on trophies. So if you kill a Predator, you deserve a trophy. You deserve to walk away with a trophy. Well, they don't want to give you the technology. They don't want to give you all this other crap. However, they'll give you one of their trophies as kind of a thing. So at the end of Predator 2, when Danny Glover kills that alien or kills that Predator, other aliens, three other Predators show up. They decloak, and literally he's standing there. And I think he drops, like, he had the disc in his hand, and he literally drops it to the ground, and he says something like, "All right, who's next?" There's something along, so he knows he's way out of match. Like, he knows I'm dead.
Yeah, they throw him the pistol and walk away. And
literally, they pick up the dead, and they walk away, and one turns around, and he throws him a pistol. And in the pistol, it says 17 something on it. It has a specific inscription on it. Well, again, spoiler alert, you see that weapon, or at least what seems to be that weapon, in Prey. So I want to know how
they'll probably explain that away relatively easily. They'll probably create a sequel to it, and then that'll be a souvenir that one Predator manages to get and keep for themselves.
So D, I'll get you in a second. Or what I would prefer to see is that they go down the route of Alien versus Predator Prey, the book, and the main protagonist in Prey ends up going off with the Predators. That I would want to see. You got D.
I was just thinking, I thought, because of course they don't want to give their technology away that they stole, wouldn't they have retrieved the body?
I would
or at
think
least
so.
Gone to pick up the equipment? So they would have found that too and picked that up as a memento maybe.
I mean, they'll probably search for it, but like I imagine, like once a Predator is killed, they don't exactly necessarily know that happened for, if not like, obviously not immediately, but it could take years or even decades for the signal to get out to wherever the homeworld is, if the signal is even sent.
Well, no, so the Predators typically don't travel alone. They usually have multiple Predators there. It's just one is going on a hunt and the other ones aren't.
Yeah, they're on the ship. The ship still pulls off, leaving one to do that, and it comes back down.
Well, maybe this is what started the buddy system.
Maybe this started the buddy system. No, but if you remember, D, who had the gun at the end of Prey?
She did. The main character.
She did. So it means that she possesses that pistol.
Maybe she went off with them.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they go down that route, that they just look at her and they say, you know what? She is badass enough. She's going to come with us.
Because Predators did do that. Some of the Predators were actually stuff like, humans that really prove themselves, and they adopted him in.
Well, that was what happened at the end of Alien versus Predator Prey, the first book, is that she was blooded by that specific alien, by Broken Tusk, and she went off with him. So I'm super excited. That's going to be what happened. But I'm kind of trying to like levy that excitement because I know they're going to screw it up. They always do. But I'll be interested to see if they go down that route or not. I've always wanted to get a Predator in a D&D game. Like, I've always wanted to get a Predator. I did a one-off where I had Xenomorphs in a game, and it turned out interesting. I also did a one-off of Star Wars where there was a Xenomorph, but we never finished it, unfortunately. That was really fun. I wish we would have finished that. That was with Matt Man and Blue Shark, and I want to say Cyberblood was in it. That would have been a really interesting one if I finished that. In theory, Xenomorphs are in the Star Wars universe.
In theory, yeah. Because eventually, like they say, at a galaxy long, long ago and far, far away, and in the mythos, eventually our galaxy is populated by those same humans from that original.
Okay, so here's my question. Since we're talking about aliens and predators, what was your opinion? And I want to bounce between the two of you. So let's start with D. What was your opinion of Prometheus and Alien Covenant?
You know, I liked them. I thought they were pretty cool. I mean, kind of give you a little background of kind of the the progenitors of a lot of species and everything else, and kind of like the guy that that synthetic being David. That kind of started creating. Yeah, David that started kind of creating them and kind of mutating those xenomorphs. Because I think he's the like progenitor of that stuff like that. It was kind of cool how he also went after the engineers. Sorry, that's the word I was trying to get out. The engineers. It was kind of cool how he kind of committed genocide on them, and then that once they created the xenomorphs, of course, then the predators started using them. But I think that was kind of a cool thing. To be kind of a whole beginning evolution of that shit.
Yeah. So if that is the case, Prometheus and Alien Covenant actually break AVP. But you got to keep in mind, Alien vs. Predator happened when, like, sometime in the 2000s, right? So Prometheus doesn't happen for hundreds of years. We're in space travel at that point in time. So that means David wasn't in existence until then.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. But I mean, it's like, I kind of like the new. Think of it like a diverge, like kind of like an alternate way. Yeah, I just think it's kind of cool to go that route. I know the way it was supposed to be, but I think it's a neat way to go.
That's why I'm thinking maybe AVP has been stricken from canon and it's no longer actually canon. What about you, Shinzu? What did you think of Prometheus and Alien Covenant?
Hated them.
You're really critical on them, so.
Absolutely hated them. I thought they were. I didn't like. I do like some things. Like I liked the callbacks they did to the older ones, but I really hate how they violently ignore any sort of containment procedures of any sort on a planet that they have no idea about. They just go running off. There's obvious infections occurring, and they still ignore all that stuff. They don't run to the left or the right, and they just keep running straight and get crushed. Like the entire movie is an exercise in stupidity, and I hate it so much.
Okay, Alien Covenant too,
especially Alien Covenant, and I wanted to like them so bad, and they went through this whole process of trying to explain things, and I think they would have been better off if they just didn't, because they got so far up their own butt with the whole, like, we have to define everything. We have to discover everything. We have to find the creators and makers of humankind as well as the aliens and all this other stuff. And I think in the process of doing that, they kind of forgot what they were going to tell in the storyline that was already in place. And it was just like, it wasn't any fun. And everyone and their kid brother could have surmised the ending of Covenant. Like, obviously the evil dude's going to win. That's going to be a thing.
Fair enough. So, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure both of those movies were Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott came back for both of those, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
I can check.
I'm pretty sure those two movies were Ridley Scott because I don't know why I'm thinking that, or H.R. Geiger. I want to say Ridley Scott because Ridley Scott was the person who was part of Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, he directed it.
It wouldn't be H.R. Geiger. H.R. Geiger is the one that the artwork
artist.
inspired. Yeah, that inspired the aliens and all that stuff. That type of art style.
Ridley Scott directed at least Alien Covenant.
Okay. So I mean, this was his story that he was trying to tell. I don't know. There was
decades later.
Well, there was a lot about Prometheus. Like, one of the things that I liked about Prometheus is that it wasn't an aliens movie. And I think one of the things that I found the most interesting about it was everybody was expecting it to be an aliens movie. And it really, like, he just went, no, I'm not making an aliens movie. I'm making a prequel that nobody asked for. Nobody in their right mind asked for a prequel to the aliens movie. But he was like, yeah, I'm making it. And that right there put a lot of interest for me in that movie. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened in it. I liked how they explained the engineers or the space jockey. Because remember the space jockey in the original Aliens movie? Or the original Alien movie? Sorry, not Aliens, Alien. So the space jockey was just this gargantuan being in a chair that like had no definition or whatever. And literally Prometheus was pretty much the entire explanation for what a space jockey is. And I don't know, I liked it. The one thing I didn't like was how they just killed Shaw in between both movies. They were just like, hey, you know what? We got this great, really strong female protagonist that literally went through and was impregnated by somebody infected by this black goo and had a fucking weird ass face hugger squid thing growing inside of her. I went through all of that and managed to come out alive just to be killed off screen in between movies by like a crazy David. I don't know.
Hang on, David didn't actually kill her. I believe how it went was that he actually cared deeply for her because she wasn't like everyone typically was. And he actually had some sort of mutual respect for her. I think the journey was just so long that she died of natural causes. Like, it took them a long ass time to get to that planet. What was the time frame between the movies?
It wasn't that long because they literally flew in the ship to their homeworld. Hold on, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, so it says right here, sometime after the events of Prometheus, Shaw was killed by David. Because she wasn't that old when they put the shot of her on the table dead. Let's see if I can find that shot of her autopsied on the table. Where is it? Well, there's literally just her peeled open on the table.
What I actually think is kind of cool, like Prometheus and having like engineers creating us and like a progenitor race, is one of the myths of like the Sumerians is that basically they're gods, but some people take it as aliens or whatever. But gods basically created us as a slave race. And then, and some, a lot of ancient cultures had basically like, sky gods, or what some could argue might have been like, say, super powerful or technological extraterrestrials. So there's a lot of like, some, like the Aborigines in like Australia kind of believe they came from the stars and shit. So it kind of plays into kind of that mythos, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of neat. That we were, created by a progenitor race or seeded or something like that, a little panspermia. I just think that's kind of cool.
So I sent you the image in your inbox there, Cecil.
Oh, I'm just going to put it in recording chat.
Yeah, I think what they basically did was they did cut out the death. I just saw part of, I guess, the cut script was that Shaw did snap her neck, but it looks like what they decided to go with is that either she was intentionally infected or she became accidentally infected and she passed away because of that.
Well, I'd say everything that I'm finding says David killed her.
I don't think it was ever actually explicitly, I mean, theories are, yeah, but I don't think it was ever explicitly listed in the movies, was it?
I'm 99% sure, which means effectively I'm 100% unsure. But I'm 99% sure that David even references killing her in Alien Covenant. And I'll see if I can find the clip. I won't do it now because I'll just waste too much time, but I'll see if I can find the clip.
It says here that David has killed Shaw in order to use her DNA to develop more aliens and create his own special species. So she basically becomes the mother of aliens in one form or another. Yeah.
I knew that he killed her. Because they do a shot of her literally sitting there on the table, like dead and like autopsied open, and it's like, what? And they just kill her off screen. It was just like so many questions. Like, one, how did David get his head reattached? Because David's head was ripped off by the engineer. How did David get his head reattached? Which it means that he must have, like, Shaw must have repaired him. And if she repaired him, then, like, why wouldn't you put in some failsafe to make it so you couldn't get killed by him? I don't know, like, there's so many questions that I have on that. It's just, I thought that was one of my big things. My big gripes of that was they just cheaply killed her. Like, she was I liked her character. I liked the nativity of her. Did I say that right? Nativity? I don't know. I'm gonna run with it.
Like the
nativity.
Nativity, yeah. Or the nativity?
No, nativity is like the friggin' nativity scene that you have in front of the thing.
Yeah, you're thinking
being naive.
She's being naive, yeah. Naivete.
I don't know what that's called.
I don't know.
Anyway, well,
we drink too much.
We're not English majors.
But she had a certain amount of being naive.
Naivety.
That when everything started to happen and she, like, she was full on thinking this was a research mission, but everybody else on the thing was like, no, dude, this is for a company to make money. Like, that's what this is all about. But she was like, no, this is totally research. And she had it stuck in her head that this was a research thing. But at no point in time did anybody
Didn't the guy that played David also play Magneto in the X-Men?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Is it like Fassbender or...
I don't know, but yeah, that's Magneto.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Alien Covenant, I liked what they did with David's character. I just wish they didn't just kill Shaw off screen. I would have liked to see that.
Michael Fassbender. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, Prey, definitely worth a watch. I enjoyed it. Shinzu, I full on expect you to tear it apart and find everything to hate about it. But I'm interested to hear what you have to say once you watch it.
Watch Prey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll have to find a way to watch it. I don't own a Hulu subscription, but I will definitely find a way.
Where there's life finds a way. Well, and on that note, D, where can people find you at, man?
People can find me on my website, Microbrew Gamerz with a Z instead of an S.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I've got my own Microbrew Gamerz Discord. I've got a YouTube channel. Basically, just about anywhere.
Icicles. What about you, Shinzu? Where can people find you at?
People can find me here at the G.N.A podcast, or if you happen to be on Twitch, you can find me on my channel, Just About Right. That is Just About Right, but right is spelled with an R. The number 1, GHT, because I created Just About Right channel and then immediately forgot all the login credentials, so then I had to recreate it.
That's about right. And I'm Cecil Xavier, your host. You can find me on Cecil vs. Games on Twitter, Cecil Xavier everywhere else. I won't even list all the places, but look, I'm there. If I'm not, let me know. I'll go there too. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Reviews help people find the show, so if you enjoy listening to us, let other people know. You can find us on Google Play Podcast, iTunes, Your Listen, Spreaker, MyTune. I think I said MyTune twice. Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're a whole bunch of places. If we're not, let us know. We'll upload there as well. We're partnered with Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is a game purchasing service with a twist. You get to purchase games, and then you also get to donate to charity simultaneously. So it's a cool cause. Just put the question mark partner equals G.N.A podcast. Oh god, that bourbon burps so well. Question mark equals G.N.A podcast. End of any of your links for Humble Bundle lets them know we sent you. Put any sliders that you have all the way down to 0. We don't want your money. We in fact want you to give that money to charity, to the developers, maybe a few bucks to Humble Bundle, not to us though. Go check out our website at www.gnapodcast.com. There's links over there to Microbrew's website, as well as to our Discord. Discord is where we do all our major chatting. We're pretty chill there. We, we don't like get super into everybody's face. We try to play games every now and then. I think the latest one we're playing is Terraria, D&I. So hopefully we can get some more people to play Terraria. Maybe if there's some other games that come out, we'll jump down that road as well. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, man. It was fun.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
And you're very welcome that I joined.
I love you, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Good night, all.